I'm here today to learn. I'm here today to inspire and be inspired.
I wanted to come and learn, and I really have. I really have. So I'm so grateful for it.
I really think this is brilliant. And we can get through this and we can be big because we all want to make it.
When they said it's a mentorship program, I could not stop myself. I just had to come and see.
I think this is a great initiative. It's because there's not a lot of female mentors. So it's nice that you can collectively be mentored and also meet and network with other women in different industries.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think it's something that we need as young women. I think it's something that has been missing, and I'm so glad that I've been able to become a part of it.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first virtual mentorship series. I am so excited to have been around to do this. My name is Caroline. I'm the CEO of Mentorship. I remember about 4 years ago, and a very big PR company. I thought to myself, what is this? Never did this. So for being paid and the contract was signed 8,000 times in a week. What if I were to calculate 40 that's a month, or do you actually need 160,000 hours? Yes, in my existence. So parent my sister through this idea. At that time, she was a PR specialist, and she was doing it with me. You need to do fast. You need to have a business profile, you need to have a business logo, you have to have like and everything that they tell you to have when you're starting to do this. And I was like, okay, let me do this. So after doing all that, to give me a job after having done all these things I was told to do. And I was like, wow, what is the point of doing all this? And at that time, I was still in campus. So I talked to a couple of female friends who had just started businesses and the struggles and challenges, like how do you get customers, how do you market your business, like actually realized we were open meetings that were actually going nowhere, and we were like, wow, this is hard. And it was at that point we were about to give up that. I thought to myself, why not put together an event where we let men come and talk to us and tell us what we need to do for our businesses in the next month. And like I said, that's so a hassle got to be born. And look at where we are right now. And for today, I am so excited. I can't wait to hear all the meetings that we have there and the advice the mentors have to give them. And for it to be powerful and keep pushing through your journey. Don't get tired. Have fun, and please feel free to ask all the hard questions and no holdbacks. Over to you, Josh.
Great. Karibuni sana, everyone. Good morning to all of those who are streaming Facebook and YouTube. Today's second edition. I'm really excited. I have all your mentors in place, and
we can get through this and we can be big because we all want to make it.
I need to release my noise.
Program, I could not stop
I need to
myself.
release my noise. 1 second. Yes, so all those who are streaming in, please feel free to comment and tell us where you are streaming from, ask a question, engage the mentors. And as usual, we won't do too much about it, we'll just jump straight into it. So I'm going to ask the mentors to introduce themselves, of course, asking with a wonderful Rosemary. Rosemary Ndivo, CEO extraordinaire. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Rosemary. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so my name is Rosemary. Sales and marketing specialist for the last 15 years. CEO Solid Launch Consulting. marketing agency.
Okay. Dr. Joanne?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Joanna Mutua. I'm a lecturer at JKUAT, and I also run my own consultancy. That is the Christian Scarlet Gold Consultancy.
Andrew?
Morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Andrew Modhe Gitao. I'm the CEO and founder of AMG Realtors Limited. We're in the business of buying and selling land. Thank you.
Great. And we have Viola Karori, who in my view needs no introduction, but she'll be joining us soon. She had to drop off. She was driving to a place where she could settle in this call, and she'll be joining us as one of the mentors a bit later. And we'll just jump straight into it. I mean, today we came here so the whole idea is we have a lot of young women entrepreneurs out there, and just like Caroline just said, there are a lot of people who don't know what to do in terms of pursuit of your dreams. You're trying to grow something, and you don't know the next steps. And then there's all they don't teach you in school, and that's why we are here to tell you all they don't teach you in school. So I'm going to go straight fast, and I'm going to our first mentee is called Ziana, and I will share her profile. There's her profile. So Ziana Odero runs the Bold Ladies Closet, an online clothing store. And she says, I started my business in mid-2020 as a stay-at-home mom who was tired of sitting in the house, broke and having zero source of income. I started first by sharing pictures of clothes on my test and see if others would be interested in buying them, and sure enough, they did. So I said, why not take a look at that? And then after having a variety of stock, it became a challenge of selling them. I have managed to get a few repeat customers, but I would love to make the Bold Lady Closets the #1 online store for every bold Kenyan lady. Kudos to you, Zana, but Andrew, here we tell the truth. What's your take on starting business and loans? Andrew?
Sorry, yes, what was the question? Say that again. I lost you there.
What's your take on starting a business and taking a loan?
Okay, thank you, Ziana. It's very courageous of you to come here and ask for help. There's nothing wrong with taking a loan to start a business. I think it's a courageous decision. It is good also that you started with a test to see whether people would be interested in buying. That is testing the market, which is fantastic. I don't know how you were able to decide that the test was good enough, or it is foolproof. The test was actually viable. Because if you test with people who are not buying, for example, they could say yes, they like because they are afraid of hurting you, or they want to encourage you, but they actually will not put their money to buy. Because I see now you have had a few repeat customers, that's what you say. However, you want to be bigger. The question I would like to ask you is, are you selling what people want, or are you selling what you want? One of the biggest problems we have in business is we fall in love with our product. We believe that what we want is what everybody wants, which is not necessarily the case. So you need to be very conscious of what people want. So for example, if you put up a skirt for sale and everybody says, I love the skirt, do you have a blouse that matches the skirt? And you get 100 requests of people asking for blouse, then you know that people are looking for blouse and not skirts. So the clear thing you need to do then is to look for the blouses that people want. And that's one of the big mistakes that I personally did. I started selling land. I decided that because I was selling in Nanyuki, everybody will want to buy an acre and above because they are from Nairobi. People wanted to buy 50 by 100, which is an eighth. And for 3 years, I resisted. I said, nobody in their right mind should buy an eighth coming all the way from Nairobi. And the day we did the eighth is the day we started selling. So sell what people want, not what you want. That would be my advice to you. The loan, I think, is not a problem. I think it gives you energy. It makes you wake up in the morning. It puts the fear of the Lord in you, which makes you pray more because you have to repay. Yeah, it makes you work hard. You never sleep. You look for solutions each and everywhere, which is a good thing. I think it's a sign of being brave, and go for it and make it happen. Thank you.
Great. Rosemary, different school of thought, same thought.
I think I've actually encountered a lot of people who want to start clothes business, and my first question is usually, I mean, clothes is one of the most crowded markets, and when you're entering, I'm just assuming any company that will, when you're starting, when you have a business proposal, be it whatever size of a company it is, one of the things you have to check is what are you bringing that is different. Because I always say, if you go to any household, there's a family member that imports clothes or brings in clothes or has a clothes store. So basically, before you even come in, you have to be very clear on what your value proposition is. What is it that is different that you're bringing? And that is usually what defines if you're going to succeed or not. Having a different, or what is it that you're bringing that is different? Because what differentiates clothes is just basically, I mean, the design, that's not enough. So what are you going to do that is different, that is going to make you win? And a lot of people, I don't think, usually have this figured out before entering. Just bringing in clothes that you think are nice is not enough. And that's why probably after the first, and usually I think that is the easiest, I mean, judging from posting online and seeing if there is feedback. I mean, it's clothes. People are going to love them. Whether they are going to buy them, that's a different thing. And then don't only bank on the people who said they like them. Because again, for business continuity, you need to find people who you never met. I mean, what is going to define why your customers will come to you and not to other clothes shops? So I think that is one of the most challenging segments to enter. Why? Because it's very crowded and you have to have a very good proposition and a very good structure on how you're going to enter the market and succeed. So that's my take on that.
Thank you, Rosemary. Dr. Joanne, you're a classy dresser yourself. Karibuni asubuhi. What's your take on this thing?
I echo Andrew's sentiments and Rosemary's, and I'd say it's a crowded market, yes. But the most thing she should put in mind is she should be niched, Niche. She should be niched when you're selling clothes. And then it's again online. So who are the people who shop online? Not everyone shops online. And those people who shop online, what time do they shop online? So you put your post at that time. You have to be very strategic. And then with the clothes industry, my view is be very niched. For example, say you're dealing with plus size women or kids, look for a niche that is not well catered for, preferably plus size women, plus size men, children. And then again, also if you're selling clothes, if they're female or male, the dynamics of male clothes buyers and female clothes buyers is also different. A man wants a stop where he buys all the things together. A woman wants a combination of many different things. So it is important to know your niche. Know your niche so that you know when to post your pictures, what kind of clothes to sell to them, and also there's the pricing. You can go so cheap that I will not touch because I'll be asking, what's the catch? Then you go again too expensive and they'll be like, is it worth it? So it's important to understand your market and your niche. Be niched.
All right, great. Great. For me, from where I sit, I think what I would tell a lot of people who are out there starting businesses, business starts as an idea and also as an experiment. So, just like Andrew said, you have to spend a lot of time reading what the market is saying. The worst people you could take feedback from are friends and family. They don't buy because the product is good, they buy because you or they are beholden to you. So my first test of whether an idea works is whether a stranger buys from you based on your message. And then my second take is, does the stranger come back? And then that's the point at which I would take a loan. Now, the challenge where I disagree with Andrew is that if you, and Andrew is right, a loan will keep you up at night. But if you had not figured the business which you had borrowed for, you end up with a loan which is not doing what it should, which is managing and protecting. What the loan is doing is just keeping you awake at night. It's I keep saying you cannot build on your own capital, but you also cannot build a tent on someone else's capital to build a permanent structure. So my advice to you, Ziana, is you know what? You're already in the hole. I always remember one of the businesses I started. We started on debt, and we spent 2 years just trying to manage that debt, not even trying to sell. We would hawk ourselves. So because you're already in here, find a way to generate a positive cash flow that helps you manage this debt. Unfortunately, Zana would not be here, but Karibu, our fifth mentor, Viola. Viola, you look very different since we last saw you. Karibu Sana. She has ran away. I don't think she has finished. So anyway, so great. And I will, unless anyone has any comment in closing, I will go to the next person, who is Shira. Anyone else? Anything to say?
Yeah, let me support what Rosemary and Dr. Joanne are saying, in that finding your niche. You need to differentiate yourself from everybody else. Now, differentiating can be done through product, number one, which is what a lot of people do. Number two, you can differentiate yourself in how you do the business. So I'm a firm believer that you can sell anything. You can sell clothes even in a crowded market. It is how you will sell those clothes that makes a difference. It is not the business you do, it is how you do it. I'm in the real estate plots business, which is a very crowded, very, very tough market, and with a lot of issues of integrity. Our competitive edge in that market is integrity. So we are selling products that everybody else is selling. We are successful because we've been able to demonstrate integrity over and over and over again. So a lot of people will go and they will see shambas that are cheaper than ours, but they will come to us because they know that if they buy from us, they surely will get a title. They will get the right land, they will get the right title, they will know that the shambas we sell are ours, they belong to us. So in the same way, you can sell your clothes, but it is in how you sell them. What is going to differentiate you from everybody else who sells clothes? Is it the fact that you are going to make a delivery for free? Is it the fact that you will, whatever you do, I don't know. I can't think of many different ideas in clothes. But you have to have that thing that is very different from other people. Is it that you give a credit period? Is it that you only sell cash? Is it that you only sell wholesale? Is it that you know, there must be something different that you do that differentiates you from many other people. And that people are going to say, yes, I know I can buy clothes from 100 other people, but I only go to to Ziana because of XYZ. So that is the most important thing to look for. Thank you.
All right.
And also with the online bit, people are not keen on the content and the language they use. So probably you're posting very good clothes, affordable, classy, and then the language you're using is like motomoto, ziko hapa. You know, check the language you use to be in line with your niche market.
All right.
May I chip into this conversation?
Our celeb is here.
May I chip into this conversation?
Now we are following. Good.
This is about Ziana Odero, right?
Yes.
The Bold Ladies Closet.
Yes.
So I looked into her social media pages, and I was a little bit confused, which goes back to what Dr. Joan is saying. Ziana, is she listening in? Because I don't see her. She's probably listening in.
Yes, so she's just tuned in.
Okay, so I feel like she needs to not only define her niche, that's about doing thrift clothing, and not just thrift clothing, just doing clothing in general. Like when I'm thinking about thrift shopping, when I go to Toy Market or Gikomba, there is a person who will tell me who I will be attracted to, because she will say, Mama, kuja. That person will be selling children's clothes. There's another one who will tell me, sister, that person will be selling youthful, jeans and things like that. And there's another one who will call me Made, her clothes will be more Made-ish, right? And there's the one who will also be calling me and telling me, Zandani, that person will be selling lingerie or innerwear, right? So she needs to be very targeted, because when I look at her online social media pages, I saw there was children's clothing, and there was also adults clothing. Yes, I see Ziana, I see you're here. Right. So she does need to be very focused. But based on that, I also find that with online clothing shopping, your niche will direct what social media platform will work best for you. So I find like a lot of people who sell children's clothing thrive on Facebook, because the people who are on Facebook are a little bit more serious. They're probably parents and things like that. But when you go to Instagram, if you're selling youthful, trendy clothing and things like that, a lot of those people will be found on Instagram. So defining that market will help you also define what social media platform is best for you, right? And another thing that I noticed on your page, Ziana, was the images. The images are not very enticing. And make me want to buy your clothes. I mean, the minute I see it, I want to say, I want to buy that. So just invest a little bit. I know photo and phones take very good pictures nowadays. Just get a good phone and take good pictures. And along those lines, do research, because the thrift online clothing market is getting very huge in Kenya right now. Do research on Instagram. There's a number of people who are doing it. There's Thrift with Mweni, there is Be Trendy. There's a number of them that when you look at how they package them, there are times, I will confess, there are times I will buy without even, when you actually look at the clothing, you're like, okay, when you get it, it's not so great. But the way they put the picture on there made me want to buy it. So do research on the people who are doing who are in that same line, because there's a lot to learn from them. And my final point, don't ignore WhatsApp. Your WhatsApp status is very important, because not everybody who is on your contact list is on social media or will follow your page on social media. But when I'm sitting and I'm on WhatsApp and I just start browsing through people's statuses, I'm like, oh, when Ziana has posted, and I look and I happen to like something that was there, because anyway you've taken the photos for social media, you might as well put them on WhatsApp. That's it.
You couldn't have had it better. And just like Andrew said, Java came to Kenya when people were selling coffee. It's how you do business. Just what Viola said. And I'm sorry to point out this: you cannot post an iron item on a fashion. You're selling fashion. You're not selling clothes. You're selling a story. So you have to follow it up. So I hope we had and next. I mean, we need to rush to the next person, but great. This is a great start, and I will get the next person, who is Wanjiko, who is also here with us. Hold on, let me get her. Let me get her on board, and that's Wanjiko. So Wanjiko is a very interesting case because she kind of plays in the same space, but hers is a more interesting story. And I don't know where she ran away to. Wanjiko, do I have you?
Yes, you do.
Yes, karibu sana. Wanjiko. So Wanjiko is an interesting story because she was in the aviation industry, and then after Corona, she got laid off, and just to try and survive, she started a new business. And she's now running a store. I think Wanjiko, if I'm not wrong, you're running it from your page. I know you've been talking to Caroline and trying to structure. And I would like the mentors to hear from you just exactly what your struggles are, because I have my personal opinion, but because you're here, go for it.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, George. So, like George explained, I am from the aviation industry. 3 years in, COVID happened, and so I found myself in this situation. Luckily, I found Caroline along the way, but of course, being very new and very green into business, there's clearly a lot I don't understand. Of course, there's a guidance from Carol, but the first, I think, 1 month was very amazing. Because of course, at that point, my friends and family, everyone wants to support me. Everyone wants to buy something. It doesn't matter whether they fit into what I'm selling or not. They just want to buy it because they understand what the situation I'm in. And I think now when we got into September, so things changed. Of course, my friends and family are not buying anymore because you can't really buy everything I am selling just because you want to support me. So now the hardest bit came into now marketing to strangers. Of course, the social media pages there. There's posting, there's everything, but selling to people who don't know me, which is a whole different style, of course. Because my niche, or from what I thought when I was starting this business, truth be told, it wasn't well thought out. It was more of what can I do that I like doing and will not feel like it's a new field for me. And like most women, I like shopping. So I figured this is what I like. And I know a few other people who like what I like. So let's see how this goes. And the biggest challenge.
I want Andrew, because Andrew is a fashionista.
Really?
Andrew is our slave mentor. So, Andrew, is it possible to start a business based on the fact that you're broke and your neighbors will buy? Sorry to be brutal. You're broke.
The fact that
you're poor. You need money. Is that a basis to start a business? What's your take? What's your take on this story?
Wanjiko, first of all, we share a surname, so we need to find out whether we are related.
Who's your daddy?
Okay. But it's business is started for many reasons. I think one of the mistakes we make is to always say that start something that you're passionate about, that blah blah blah, and all those things that you love doing, which is fine, but not everyone knows what they are really passionate about. And money is a passion in itself, and money is a huge driver of wanting to succeed. I mean, just want you to have more money is a good enough motivation, according to me. So it is good to start a business because you are broke. In fact, if I was not broke, I would not start a business. Or if I don't want to be broke, what is the need of starting a business? I mean, if I have the money, if I lived in Dubai and I was an Arab and I'm given money by the government, I would just enjoy it. I would not bother killing myself starting a business. So I think it is okay to start a business because you are broke and you do not want to be broke anymore. It's perfectly fine, and it is fine to start a business to get more money. I think beyond that, you need to think, when I have the money, what am I going to do with it? Because if you ask many people, if you get 1 billion Kenya shillings today, what are you going to do with it? A lot of people cannot answer that question. They will just tell you, I will use it to make more money, which just means that they want more money, but they don't know what it is for. So I think it is important to even keep evaluating, when I get the money, what am I going to do with it? Why do I need all this money? Because even the issues we have of corruption and all these things we see in Kenya is people just looking for money, which they cannot even explain why they need it. I was asking a realtor, a fellow realtor like me, if you get 5 million every month in profit, after paying all your taxes and all everything, why would you need any more money? And the guy looked at me in shock and he said, ndio niishi vizuri. And I said, but with 5 million, you'll niishi vizuri sana. Why do you need more than that? And you could not answer that question. So you need to ask yourself, after I meet my basic, always assume that you're going to be very successful. You'll have more money than you will need. So then the question you need to keep asking yourself is, what am I going to do with that money when I have it? So that when you have it, then you do not become all these people we see in town who just look like like spoiled kids. They don't know what they are supposed to do with the money, so they go around shooting everybody, wearing funny things, and those kind of things. You need to decide, why am I looking for the money beyond being broke, and what am I going to do with the money beyond myself? Probably that would be a better question to ask yourself. But looking for money is a good enough motivation. You don't need to look for any other motivation.
Thanks, Andrew. Wise words there. What Andrew didn't tell you, he started a business when he was rich. So he's
no, that is not true.
Telling rich is relative.
Yes, exactly.
I know the truth. So, Dr. Joan, what do you think? Like Wanjiku, maybe I'll try and stretch it a bit more. Wanjiku is saying, okay, I've started this thing. How do I grow it? Very green, very new. There are a lot of people who are also tuned in and listening, and because COVID has created entrepreneurs while there were none. What's your take from somebody who is on another side? What's your take, Dr. Joan?
Wanjiku, that's a good initiative, but I'm listening to more than what you're saying. I'm listening to you say that you started with your friends and relatives who were your initial customers. Initially, they supported you, then they stopped. Of course, you can't buy clothes every day. And then you're saying that what I read from you is that you are depending on others to make you grow. You should be depending on your business and your ideas and yourself to grow. Now, the support from relatives and friends came in and stopped. That is natural, normal, expect that. What I read more from you is that you don't have confidence in what you're selling. And from your profile, you talked about you do not have an engaging audience. What is it about you that is making your audience not engage with you? Are you faceless? When you talk about faceless, is people whose clothes we see are there, but when you want to inquire about sizes, you want to inquire about prices, you are not available, or you work within a certain time. Yet when guys are buying clothes, they buy during their free time, which could be evening or lunch hour and stuff like that. So look at those as you proceed. And you need to believe in what you're selling. You need to believe in your product. You need to believe in yourself and then your product. That's it, George.
Okay, great. Guys, you've had it. Rosemary, your take.
I think first I commend you for Wanjiko for just like coming up with something else to do, because I mean a lot of people have been thrown in very unfamiliar territory during COVID, and so there are a lot of people who chose to do nothing and just despair. So the fact that you came up with something to do, I think, is very commendable. However, I think one thing that you need to come up, a business is just not made, I don't think that survival is a good ground to found a business. You have to, in the meantime, as you make the money you're making from the clothes business, you need to be very clear on what is your game plan, what is your next, what is the big, because I always say you have to have short, mid-term and long-term goals. So what are your long-term goals? And I always think that the best business is where you find purpose. So what gets you up in the morning other than just making that one extra shilling or something? So for me, once you have, and I know every person would have like 3-4 businesses that you may invest in, things that you're good at, but you always have to then shortlist based on what your end game, or what you think, what are your long-term goals are. So I think that is one of the things that I'd ask you to do, is come up with, do you see a future in this? Because it's very clear that for me is why you're doing clothes is for survival. But is that enough to establish a business on? So that's my question to you.
Hold on. Thank you. I mean, couldn't have said it better. But Viola, I'll unmute you and I'll ask you, Viola. You are in this space, but I would also want you to kind of look at it from another angle. I'm trying to look for sustainability in what Wanjiko is doing. What's your take in this story?
Well, yes, it's a good basis to start with, getting into a space where you are passionate about, and you said you love clothing. So I number one, I applaud you, like Rosemary, for, while life was crappy and you found something that you could actually like to do, that you actually like and you possibly could succeed in. So in terms of longevity, one of the things that I would do is, like we said for Ziana, do research. Find out what are people in your space doing, what is making them successful, because as we say, thrift business online and selling clothes, it's a huge business. So just do your research, take a little bit of time, if it means a week, and find out what these names that we were throwing out there are doing, because they're highly engaging. I know particular pages which are so engaging, they actually have figured out what times their target markets are online. So look at your insights, your social media insights. If you're on Instagram or you're in Facebook, look at your insights and figure out what time is your shopper online. You'll find a lot of them will do 3 o'clock, some of them will do 7 o'clock, and then they'll notify their people. So when you're trying to engage your people, tell them, turn on your notification bell, so that when I'm posting, you are aware that I'm posting, just those kinds of things that will keep your shopper coming back. Because I thought that was part of your problem, is you're not sure, you're not able to retain customers. People, get people to keep on coming back by telling them, please subscribe, then put and turn on your notification bell, put up a post that I will be posting today at 3 p.m. Keep it as a constant, that every day at 3 p.m. your shopper knows that Wanjiko Mothe is posting, right? And then that will keep them, you'll have some form of predictability, and people like that. People like to know that at 3 o'clock Wanjiko has new shopping stuff going up. So I need to be on point on that. So that's what I would advise. And then just do your research, find out what people are doing in your space. I think it can go well, whether it's you stumbled upon it by accident or not. I think if you put enough effort into it, I think you can survive it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. I mean, Wanjiko, allow me to round off this discussion and just say thanks, Viola, for that. And in case you don't know who Viola is, go and listen to her Despacito track. She's an amazing artist, and when she tells you how to manage social media, she ain't lying. This is Google her. That's what I would advise you. But anyway, I mean, like on a serious, first you have to eat. Let's be clear. As Andrew said, money is a good motivator. But also, where we get lost is that we focus on what we are eating. You know, business is about creating value and then growing that value and then unlocking that value. Unlocking is when you get paid. Now, what a lot of these people are not telling you is that entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. This is like the hardest thing you're going to do. And I'm not discouraging you. I'm managing your expectations. All I'm saying is that the fact that you're clear, it can be one of the most gratifying things that you've done. Andrew likes posting how he has no regret leaving his billions to come be with us down here. You know, it's one, being a businessman is one of the most satisfying thing. And with time you will realize it's not really about the money. Once you get to put your food on your table, it's really not so much about the money. It's about how am I creating value for my customer? Jeff Bezos became is going to become a trillionaire because he's customer obsessed, nothing else. And so as the advice you're getting, you know, think of it like you're rearing a child. I mean, raising a child. You're raising a child who will grow and feed you. Now, so you're asking, so who wants this child? What does this child want? So you have to, so business is about feeding it for the first couple of years, and keyword year. And then after that, if you look at what Viola has done, Rosemary has done, Dr. Joanne has done, Andrew has done, this has taken years to get to where they are. So it's a long-term race. It's a patient game, and you keep. It's also an experiment, so you keep tweaking it, and then I think you'll figure it out along the way. Manjiko, any comments as we exit you?
Thank you for the remarks. I think I'll look into that. I think more towards the research and engaging clients and the constant form of routine. I think I'll start from there and see how it takes up from there. Yeah.
All right, but you're doing a great job. I saw your page. I think talk to company. You need to formalize your business. You need to separate your personal page and your business page, your personal money and your business money. Kind of separate that. I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
Great. Allow us to move on. Thank you so much. And next we have Binti. So this was a personal favorite of mine. I saw this case study. Hold on. Right. So Binti, I think Binti, I saw you somewhere. I think I saw Binti somewhere here. Oh, here she is. Right. So I'll just add her there. So Binti is the founder of Lazizi Yogurt, and he's a yogurt processor and manufacturer. And she trades under the name Hassanat Ventures. And so they deal in dairy processing and focus on yogurt production. Demand for yogurt has been on the rise, but are we in the right place? And we're in the right place to offer such nutritious options to the ever-growing health-conscious consumer. We, however, face financial challenges which seem to slow our growth and expansion rates, and also struggle with how to effectively grow our brand and customer base. This applies to our pre-COVID. I'll unmute you. I'll go to you, Rosemary, straight. You've been in this thing of building a brand and getting out there. What's your take on Binti's story?
One is that I think there's a bit of I found it a bit I wasn't able to see what the main challenge is, because she seems to, one, there's financial, another is the growing the customer base. Is it that, because I always think first I'm always I have some background in banking and financing. And if you go to a bank while you're a new business, most banks will not lend you money on the basis of a new business, because it's never a good idea. And because you need to build capital and run the business to a point where you're able to now then source for financing based on what the business is able to bring in. So basically, banks will assess your performance, your management, because again, a lot of businesses usually do not survive the first 5 years. And it's because either of the management, because of either the business was not created, it was not established, and there wasn't a clear plan on how the business was going to roll out. So I feel that financing at the initial stages of the business should not be based on loans. If anything, and that, I mean, you can borrow from friends, maybe at low interest, but bank loans, financial institutions would not usually advise. And when it comes to growing the customer base, I think that's another thing. It's again depending on who is your target market. What was the initial plan? How are they going to market the product? Because when you're rolling out a product, one, you identify, are you going into the retail? Are you going into the supermarkets? Are you going to sell? I mean, what channels is she using, depending on what her target market is? Because we are finding I've seen a lot of yogurt and these homegrown brands, which are really good, but their base is always from, friends. You grow from your family to your friends. So what's the plan? What's the end game? How big are they intending to go? So all this will come in determining then how they launch and the strategy they are using, I feel.
Thank you. I'm just managing the mic so that we don't. Dr. Joanne, what's your take?
One, I commend her for the initiative, but I'm thinking she should have done a SWOT analysis before she got into the yogurt business. My take, it might not sound very encouraging, but who is selling yogurt in Kenya? How many companies are doing yogurt? So if she's very specific after her SWOT analysis to know she is selling this kind of yogurt in this place, this region, then she capitalizes on that specific region and providing for them exactly what they want. And then again, she should also check on issues of pricing. When she does the SWOT, she'll see the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What I look at mostly here is the threats when we talk about yogurt business. We have very cheap yogurt and we have very expensive yogurt, and we have very different types of tastes with people with their palates and all that. So for me, I feel she should do a very serious SWOT analysis before she talks about branding herself and her customer base. Because she cannot say she's doing the whole of Kenya, she cannot say she's doing the whole of Nairobi. If she's just doing where she is, because I want to assume courtesy of her name, just assumption, no ill intended. I want to assume she's at the coast. Fine. If you're at the coast, where specifically at the coast are you? Then see what you're competing with. Then now start making your yogurt and giving it names and supplying it in line with dealing with your competitors and the specific, what are they called? The specific tastes of the customers that you have. You build your customer base by serving their needs and gratifying their expectations.
All right, great.
I'm briefly like that.
Great, thank you. I mean, I know, Andrew, I'm going to come finish you, but I need to start with Viola. Of course, first I need to recognize Kipchirchir Koech, who is following and making notes, and somebody who asked about, let's really talk about because the big question is this: how do you attract capital? and that, I think that's what Binti is trying to ask. How, I mean, she seems to have a pretty stable product, but how do you attract capital? And Viola, you've been able to you've been in the entertainment business. You put some money, and a lot of us who are following. I mean, we appreciate everyone who's following, but how does one raise capital? What's your take, Viola? Before I go to Andrew, who's also in a very capital intensive business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what is difficult about the yogurt thing is she's in a very competitive space, and the competition she is going against are able to sell at cheaper prices because of just their volume and the scale at which they're operating. So I would go about it the way Joanne was talking about it. Try and be a little bit more localized. And first of all, tell me what is different about your yogurt versus somebody else's yogurt. Why do I need to eat your yogurt? Is yours more natural? Is your culture special? A little bit more specific. So be a little bit more targeted in who you're approaching. And then if you're talking about building your customer base and raising capital, I would just be a little bit more innovative. I don't think I would go, I don't know, based on her packaging, she probably is already stocked at some supermarkets, but I would try a little bit different. So maybe like gyms, there are people who, the gym lifestyle and smoothies and things like that. Go package yourself outside a gym, find one or two gyms that you can put a stall outside or do something like that, and then make smoothies for them from your yogurt. Based on that, you could gain customer base. Based on the people who visit the gym, they're coming out of the gym and having a post-workout smoothie, and you're using your yogurt to make those kinds of products. I think that's an interesting way of raising capital. Just be interested. I don't know much about dairy apart from the fact that I am a consumer of dairy. Find people who you can, based on those kind of innovative ways of raising, growing your customer base. I would also look at, parents, mothers who are going to the gym. I buy yogurt in bulk because I want to, I don't want to be buying the small containers all the time, and my children eat yogurt every day of their lives. So find ways of, supplying in bulk. Make your yogurt, more natural or tastier. Don't add sugar. But, just be innovative and think outside the box, as opposed to, because you're competing with Ilara and Brookside and Bio and all these huge companies who are heavily funded. And just think outside the box.
Great. Andrew, you've had what Viola said. Viola says differentiate yourself, and for me, this is a bit of a mix, because what Binti is doing is retail. I know you did FMCG for quite a while in your life, and I know, and me and you agree. This is a difficult. FMCG is a difficult because it's thin margins, scale volumes. There's a lot of capital. There's very huge fiscal management. What's your take on this?
Okay, thank you, Ikwa. And number one, I want to answer specifically to raising finances. Number one, I think the most important thing to do is to look for your cash customers, the customers who pay you cash. A lot of us, the business is an ego trip. So we would rather supply Tuskies and ShopRite and who else? And Carrefour, and be paid after 90 days, so that we tell our friends, no, I'm already in Carrefour, I'm supplying Tuskies, I'm supplying Naivas, I'm supplying all these big names. However, they kill your business, especially if your business is small, because they pay you after 90 days. They will ask you for product that you cannot supply because they are keeping your money. 90 days for some of them ends up being 180 days, 200 days. Some of them close with your money. We know them. So the most important thing is to look who are my cash customers, and those are the ones you need to deal with. Smaller supermarkets, retail shops usually will take small orders, but they will pay you cash on delivery. So concentrate on those ones as you build your capital base. The other way you can build your capital is to look at having a distributor who will pick your product in wholesale, in bulk, and then go and sell to those people that you are not able to sell to because of the payment terms. So you can have someone who comes, picks all your products that you produce, you give them a relatively good price, so lower margins for you, but on condition that they pay you cash, they pay you on the spot. They can even prepay for what you're producing. So those are the kind of customers you need to look for when you are young. Do not rush to supply the big names so that your ego feels good, so that you can feel that you're successful. Because you're going to be successful for the first 30 days. The next 30 days, 60 days, you'll be struggling. And the last 90 days, you'll have closed. You will have no business. So you need to be very careful in terms of making sure that you follow the money. Follow those who pay you. Follow the ones who are ready to pay you as soon as you deliver. That is the easiest way to make money. The other way is to look at your cost of business. You could be supplying, I'm assuming you're in Mombasa, as someone else said, you could be supplying product to Voi, and your cost of delivery is higher than your margins. So you could be doing a lot of business and you're not making money. You could be supplying to a supermarket who you have to visit 5 times to go and collect. Remember, every visit that you are going to, every visit that every time you go there, it is a cost of time and a cost of money. So you could be selling 30,000, but you spend 5,000 going to collect. Going to collect means going to get the payment. So you go, the owner tells you, oh, come tomorrow, oh, don't come today, oh, the check is not ready, oh, I'll send M-Pesa, and then they don't send, those kind of things. Now, if you encounter that such a customer, you need to be very careful, because he could be eroding all your margins because of the sheer time that you waste trying to get money out of them. So that by the time you finish your whole sales cycle, you have actually sold 100,000, but you have made 0 shillings. You probably have even made a loss. So those are the key things. If you're not strong in finance, look for somebody who can help you in finance. The other option is you could partner with people. Be very careful when partnering. A lot of people don't have the same vision as you have. And even if they have the same vision, they have a different route to that vision. So that could become an issue. You can look for a silent partner who can put in money and they are not involved in the business. If they trust you, they can just put in money. You agree on a shareholding. Sometimes do not be too fussy about owning 100% of the business, and the business is worth 1 million shillings. You can also own only 10% of the business, and the business is worth $10 million. You'll be much richer and much happier. So you can look for a partner, tough but possible. You could look for the COVID millionaires who are looking for places to park money. I'm just joking, but yeah. But finance is a tricky one. But always put your ego aside. Do not rush to supply the big boys, because the big boys will take you for a ride. They will take all your capital. They will sell. They will not pay you, and you'll be struggling. And yet you're saying, I'm supplying Naivas and Carrefour and so, and you can't supply anymore. Thank you.
Great. I mean, thank you. Andrew did over a decade, I believe, in FMCG. And Binti, I know you're listening in. This, you see, the tragedy of retail and FMCG is that we refuse to position ourselves into the moment pop in the beginning. So you enter a space and Lazizi thinks its competitor is Brookside. Brookside is not your competitor. Those are big boys. Your competitor is who is serving your neighbor. is your competitor is milk, your competitor is juice, your competitor is what is being eaten in the neighborhood. So I think it's very important when you're entering a business to know who you're competing. Then two, you have to be very, very clear if you're going to do retail business on your numbers. Where is your margin? Retail is about small margin, huge volumes. So when you look at your margin and you start to say, I need to move 50,000 pieces for me to be able to afford a loan. And this is now where I can feel your struggle coming in, because you're like, but I need the loan for me to push to 50,000 pieces. I've always said business is an experiment. My mentors tell me the same. You need to grow organically and stretch it to the limit where you are facing such high demand that you need to take to the bank. And as long as you're keeping your data, somebody can see it's very well articulated. And that's why I encourage a lot of entrepreneurs, open a bank account, have a statement, formalize your business. So when you take to someone your papers, they engage you, and there are other ways to get financing other than a bank. I mean, I'm really excited. I'm seeing Fungai, Makovere, you take something, Chick here. Those are questions we learned. You're talking about, I mean, we have comments coming in about this whole financing thing. What I'm speaking to you, Binti, and to the general listeners, stretch yourself, basically prepare your paperwork. You know, people cannot invest in a dream. People invest in a proof of concept. So for example, Viola is an award-winning artist. So if you go to YouTube and look at Viola's video, now you can invest. But you can't invest in a story. I struggle with the fact that the first time I engaged Lazizi Yogurt is through her hustle. There's a problem there. And I'm not saying you're a big brand. I'm just saying make noise with what you have. Facebook is free. Make noise every day. Post, validate socially, show people, or decide you're going to be known in one small location. I mean, there are people who do milk. Kinangop Dairies, how did they start? They didn't try and take over the whole country. They took one location and they went for it. So I really think be sure on the numbers. Take your time before you take financing. Financing means now when you're in bed with other people, regardless of your vision, and that has its own dance. I don't know whether anyone else has anything else to say. Has everyone else has anything to say? Can I move to the next case? Great. So I think next we had Shira. So Shira, this one is specifically for you, Viola. Because you're the one who gets it. So Shira is joining us. Allow me to add her to the stream. Get off Binti. And Shira is an interesting case. Sorry, my technical things do always crop up at one point. Viola, have I unmuted you? You can unmute yourself. There.
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So Shira is a poet. And I don't know whether you read Shira's profile.
I did.
Yes, and I want you to speak to Shira. She's here with us. Shira, can you hear us? Shira, are you with us? Okay. I think maybe if you can, it's how does a creative unlock money from what they do? I mean, when I went to her Facebook page, she writes fantastic poems, very fantastic poems. She does very, very beautiful poems. She needs money. Like, what do you do? You know, she's here. She needs money. What's your thoughts? I mean, from your space. And then after this, I'll take Dr. Joanne, because Dr. Joanne is also in the creative space. Yeah.
Okay. First, I'm going to applaud her. I hope she can hear us, because the arts are not an easy career path. They're not. It's not for the weak. It's not for the faint-hearted. And a lot of people look at the arts as a hobby. So when you're in it seriously, it's a very difficult task, because everybody is thinking you're just doing it for fun. So, and it's also a very capital intensive business, right? And you don't know how it's going to go. Each product is different. We do put out products, so each product is different. So one of the things that I would do, first thing, as you said, her poetry is really good, but it's on her page. However, poetry is one of those things that is art in general is very subjective. Yeah, I'll hear it one way, I'll read it a different way than it was intended. So one of the things that I would advise Shira to do, first thing, read to me your poetry. Engage me by not having me have to read it. Read it to me. It's just an interesting way of putting your poetry out there. I'll give you an example. During COVID, Captain Picard, I don't know if any of you watch Star Trek, Jean-Luc Picard, and the actor's name is Patrick Stewart. What he did is he every day put out a reading of Shakespeare. So he would just come on the screen on Facebook and read to us an excerpt from Shakespeare, be it Hamlet or something. So what it did is it kept we as his fans engaged, because he was not putting out any new content on TV. It kept us engaged, and it made us learn how to, Shakespeare is hard. Shakespeare is hard to read. But when somebody else reads it and reads it well, it engages me, it hooks me. So I would advise Shira to do some things like that. Do small mobisodes and small episodes of you reading your poetry to us, where on your page I would see an image and then your poetry is written. Change it up a little bit. Give me that video of you reading it. And then maybe even the next day you can explain what it meant. It just gives that extra touch to your poetry. Another way of raising income directly as a poet is being a lyricist to artists. So musicians have songs, and some of us will write, but a lot of us don't. So some of us write for others. And as a poet, lyrics and words come very easily to you, I would assume. So DM artists, slide into my DM and say, hey, Viola, I would like to write you lyrics. If you have a song or you have a melody, would you send it to me? And I would be happy to engage you in that. Here's some of my work. Read through it, pick a topic, send me a melody, and I will write to that. So that also gives you a separate income stream as a lyricist, because as a poet, words are easy. Another way that you can earn money with your craft is because as George was saying to the previous person who was on here, that it's very difficult to put out, to earn money or to get investors if you don't have work out there. So another way to put yourself out there is to go to engage cultural institutions, like Allianz, Goethe Institute. Go and present yourself. And the way you can present yourself is with these clips and videos of you reciting your poetry. So what that will end up doing is when they have shows at Allianz or at Goethe or any other cultural institutions, they will call you to curtain raise. So you will be an opening act, and you will do your skit or your poetry and, make it nice, such that every time they are having an engagement, you will have a platform to grow your base and also to test your material. use these platforms also as a testing material. At the beginning, you may have to do a few of them for free, but then eventually they'll be calling you and paying you for it. So that is another way that you would be able to earn money with poetry. But it's a difficult journey. So be very sure what you're in it for. That's a question I ask a lot of people who I talk to who are artists, who are entering the artist space. What are you in it for? Is it for the love of poetry? Are you in it for fame and fortune? Whatever the reason that you're in it for, know the reason you're in it for, and that will guide your journey, and it will guide the steps that you're going to take, because it's a long journey. It's a long one. Don't be cheated. It's a long one, and it's a difficult one. But done right, you could do very well. And I'm very happy to talk to you even separately or whatever. Just you'll get my contact from George, and we can have chat after that.
All right, great. I want to take it to somebody who's on the other side. Rosemary, maybe me and you are these ones who the only art we know is at cafe. These ones we are
Absolutely. Yes,
I'm
actually, yes, because
from a numbers point of view, does this make sense? Is she just telling poems? I mean, I know we have award-winning artists over here, but some hate over here, or some belief. What can I pick from you, Rosemary?
Well, I mean, for me, I'd be the pooper in the party, because I think art is very important, and I think I really have a lot of respect to anyone in art. But my biggest question, and my teenage son likes to, he really loves art, and for me, I always look at the landscape that we are in, and how hard it is to really, because I know that a lot of people are successful in different countries, and for me is how is the landscape really conducive for such a skill, and to succeed and to really make an income and make it big. And then what do you need to do? And you can see, I mean, Lupita was small time when she was in Kenya. Not really, I mean, she wasn't really that, and she went and succeeded elsewhere. So again, it's also a question of how realistic are we that you can make it big here, and what do you need to do? And is it that, do you need to then look at pursuing it elsewhere, which is a sad situation really, but I mean, it's the reality. So it's a tough one for me.
I mean, put it out there. That's what Hustle is about. And everyone who's joining us from Facebook, thank you. Give your comments, state your questions. But I'm going to Arap Mashamba. Arap Mashamba Bonandro.
Yes.
A friend of mine told me the basics of business are the same. Like there's a P&L, there's a balance sheet, there's a business development. From a totally removed point of view, how would you walking into Shira's room? What would you tell
her? One of the things I've come to learn is that we are very different. So what does that mean? That means that for me to feel successful, maybe I need $1 billion. For somebody else to feel successful, they just need 30,000 a month. And that is fine. There's no problem with that. So if she can do poems and feel that whatever she gets from those poems is enough for her, because the joy of whatever she's doing is more than just the financial aspect of the business, that for me is success in itself. Success doesn't have to be defined by any other person. It is defined by yourself as a beginner or as a founder of the business. And For example, I could have started selling shambas to employ 5 of my cousins from Shags, and that could have been my biggest goal. So if then I have employed 6, I am more than successful, and that is enough. So it is not all about P&L and bottom line and and all those things. You will see today businesses are talking about impact. That apart from the P&L, we want a sustainable business. So they're looking at sustainability of businesses. They're also looking at the impact the business is making in society, in the community, and things like that. And all those things are now becoming more important than the bottom line. Because as I said earlier, it is good to make money, but it is also very important to decide what you're going to do with the money when you make it. So, and we all know the story of the fisherman who in the village, who got 2 fishes a day, sold them, and chilled out. And this big guy from New York came and said, "Why don't you expand your business?" And this guy kept asking him, "And then what?" And then, have many boats, collect a lot of fish, and sell and become a rich man. And then what will I do? And then you just sit in the village and chill, which is exactly what he was doing then. So sometimes we get lost in trying to think that the marking scheme should be the same for all businesses. And it is not. It is surely not. My business, my biggest joy today of my business is my employees. It's not money anymore. Yeah, I could have started it to make money, but it's to see the development that happens or the change that happens to my employees, that they come here, they earn a bit more money, they change their lives, they get married, they own a house, they do what. That is my joy now. But working with them, working in that journey, changing their thinking, changing my own thinking, to the point where now you are aligned in your thinking, you're aligned in the vision, and they're also developing from a personal point of view. So you could do poems. I love poems personally. I wish I could write them. And you could use it just to make enough for yourself. And that is okay. You could do poems and have another side hustle that poems, but still continue doing your passion. And that is okay. That is my take. I believe we should not judge all businesses the same, because only the founder has the right to decide why he's starting that business.
Right. Wow. This, I even want to unmute Viola. So, Viola, sorry. Yeah. I want to unmute Viola so she can clap. But there's somebody here who sits here, and that's a clap.
May I jump into that? May I say?
Then we are going to talk about Joanne. Joanne is from the school, Mwalimu. So Viola, very quickly, and then we go to Mwalimu.
Yeah, I am so with Andrew on that. I so agree, because making it big, in the words of Rosemary, is subjective. Also, which is at the end of the day, what I was asking Shira, what is your goal? What is your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing? And then, in the same way that Andrew was saying, that you could also have a side hustle. You don't even need a side hustle. You can just expand your poetry into different facets of it. You can write, because you're already a writer. You can find ways of writing, which is where you write for other artists. You write songs. You can get into writing plays. You can get into writing, You can put poetry books together, compilations. You could do writing scripts for TV. So it's an expandable. Any of these artistic careers are expandable. It's not just, I must do poetry. Yes, you deal with words. How do you work your words? In what direction do you take them? That's my point.
Right. You had it, but I'll go to an academia point of view. Dr. Joanne is she's a doctor from having a PhD. She's not and works with JQuat, and which of course has always been associated with the sciences. And Dr. Joanne, I'm trying to unmute you. Have you, Dr. Joanne? Yeah. Sorry.
Asante. Probably I should begin by saying I'm also a poet from high school. And the question goes back to what Andrew said, what's your side hustle? And then when I read Shera's profile, what she'd written, the first question I asked myself is how old is she? What are her demographics, her psychographics? And Shera, if you're listening, I don't want to be a party pooper, but I'm more inclined towards Rosemary, where I'm asking how much is poetry going to bring on the table? Viola, don't kill me. She's given you so many ways on how to deal with it. However, at your age, because I try to look a bit at you and try to gauge your demographics, I think you should be looking more on how to capacity build yourself, build your capacity more. I have a daughter who is into music and dance, and I keep telling her, Wema is fine, you can be all you are, but you will have to go to university, get me a degree. After giving me my degree, you can be anything else you want to be. And I keep giving the example of Nameless. He has a degree in architecture, then he can do his music. Because when you build your capacity and then you take in your passion, because Shera, I tend to think your poetry is more of your passion, you tend to see it more wholesomely. So by the time you're asking of how to market yourself, when to market yourself, you will be more informed and in a better place. I tried to pick on a few of your poetry. It's amazing. It's nice. What I didn't see is growth, progression. A poem you wrote last year and a poem you wrote this year. I'm not seeing growth in terms of your language, syntax, school of thought. So for people to follow you as a poet or Viola as a musician, right? And in that line of arts, and most people take arts as a way of relaxation and to supplement our lifestyles. We really have to see growth. There's a lady, she's not Mudhoni the drama or someone. Tomorrow you'll see her reading the poetry to you. She's doing something different, and it makes us follow her. So what is it in you that will make us follow you apart from reading your poems? Also understanding this digital era, everyone's timeline sounds almost like a poem. So what makes your poetry stand out? And then again, if you're marketing your work social media, no one wants to read for long in social media. So then how long is your work? And when it's short or long, how punchy is it? And then I'll go to the last part of it. I like being brief and short so my point hits home. In your content, what are you standing for? What is your philosophy? Are you talking about sex? Are you talking about relationships? Are you talking about the weather? Are you looking at topical issues? See, this is the same thing that is affecting most comedians. When they're comedians and their comedy is very tribal, people get tired. When they have comedy and they cannot relate to recent issues, people get tired. But if you get comedians who can relate to recent issues, who have a line on decency, like you know your target audience, like if your jokes are going to be around children or families or a specific target audience, those are things you need to think about. Well, I will not kill your dream, but I'll ask you, as Andrew also mentioned, what is your other side hustle? And Viola has given you very many other options, but still at your age, you're still young, build on your capacity.
You know, they before somebody kills your dreams, they tell you I'm not killing your dreams. So Dr. Joanna's
I cannot kill her dream. I love poetry myself.
Yeah, very good job there. No. Shira, we're with you. So I'm giving Viola, and this kind of transcends this conversation. Sorry, we are dwelling on this. We have two more cases we really need to engage.
No worries.
And for me, you know, one of the things, and we spoke about this when we were trying to plan this session. Landlords don't eat likes.
No, they don't.
landlords don't eat likes. They eat cash. And on the other side, they have. I mean, you've never met a billionaire accountant, but you've met a billionaire poet.
Mm-hmm.
You get on the other side of the tree.
Yeah.
So if you ask people, name for me 10 rich people in the US, you will find Beyonce, Jay-Z, Shakira. Those are the names that will roll out of their tongue. They're not going to tell you Rihanna. They're not going to tell you an accountant in New York. That guy is serious. So in 1 minute, what do we tell those outside Shira who are starting to think, where's the money? I like what Andrew said. You don't have to own the continent, but if you love what you do, you gotta do. So what's your take?
Well, I will speak to that very important point that Andrew said, that you're in it in so long as you're earning a living. And Joanne, I have a degree in music. Actually, I studied music production and engineering, so my capacity is expanded in that way. So
sorry, Viola, in University of Berkeley, she studied
Berkeley College of Music
with Boys Men. Walisoma huko pamoja
na Quincy Jones, but it's one of those things where one of the most important lessons I learned in school.
Viola, I think we've lost you.
Was how do you, can you hear me?
Yes, we have. Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. One of the most important things I learned is, can you earn a living doing your music? So in so long as you're not, you could want to be Beyonce, you could want to be Jay-Z. We all want to be Beyonce. Any artist, any musician who's out there wants to be Beyonce. But and we all want to win Grammy Awards. But in so long as you're earning a living, doing what you love to do, then success is what you define it to be, which is what Andrew was saying. So if Shira wants to be a poet, and yes, I agree with you in building capacity and all that, but she doesn't have to build capacity as an architect or as a lawyer. She can go to drama school. She can, there are so many other avenues that she can pursue that will enhance her poetry, as opposed to, engineering, law, architecture. So I am all about growing your capacity and earning a living doing the arts, but being smart about how you're doing it. I don't know if you can hear me. We can't hear you, George.
Sorry, I muted myself. What I'm saying is that everyone who's tuned in, I mean, these are discussions. This is what we're trying to do. You can survive on these things. It's really just understanding how to frame it. You can survive on this. Yeah. Don't beat yourself around it. And I know we're moving to the next case. We're going to have a session in about 15 minutes. Post your comments. We're going to share it to the mentors today. Powerful squad here. And right next, I'm going to have somebody. Do you have anyone? You can hear me, Viola?
Now we can.
Now you can. Yes. So there's the next case of the lady who runs a magazine, a lifestyle magazine up in Kisumu. I'm just trying to get her profile up. It's her name is Donata. Yes, I have her here. I don't know why. So there you go. There you go. 1 second. Apologies for the delay in this. And so Donata, I found Donata is the bold, the bold type. And this, I love this. One of the challenges we've had, and all respect to those in this industry, one of the challenges we've had in her hustle is that everyone just wants to do the same thing. No one really is going out to do something different. And I was very excited to talk about Donata. So Donata runs a lifestyle magazine in Kisumu called Scarlet that has been in operation for the last 10 months. So far we've We're both online on our website, and we just produced our first copy of the magazine. Being in a new product in Kisumu, it's never been easy pushing it to the market as the first magazine being produced and published in Kisumu. My biggest challenge is getting someone to mentor me on the process and also get funding for printing and the daily running of any project. With the help of you guys will be so much appreciated. People are running away. Mentors, people are running away from printing. Here is a brave Scarlett, Donata Nyango, running Scarlett magazine. What do we say? What do we say here? I don't know who wants to go first. Our regular Andrew.
Actually, thank you, Donata. Donata, there are a couple of things you can do. Number one, look at the impact of online in Kisumu and how that is affecting or could affect your business. I find that when I go to a cafe and they have the newspapers, I pick one, but beyond looking at the maybe 1 or 2 pages, I still go to my phone and I want to read everything online. So that could have a big impact. Secondly, look at advertisers. Go for advertisers and let them commit to your magazine so that you are able to meet your cost before you go into production. So advertise in the sense that get people to advertise on your magazine and charge them so that by the time you go to print, you already have money and you're not depending on selling it on the streets to make the money. Now, there lies in a catch-22. You need enough copies to be circulating in Kisumu for you to get enough advertising. So it's a chicken and egg story. The advertisers want you to have probably 100,000 publications before they think you're serious enough. They want to see your magazine on the streets before they can start advertising. They want to have read it or seen it somewhere before they start advertising. One of the ways that you can have a quick distribution is, for example, you could approach the biggest supermarket in Kisumu, I don't know which one it is, and offer to advertise for them on a premium page, let's say page 1 or page 2, probably page 2 of the magazine. And in turn, they will display it on their shelves. So it could be Naivas, you go to the branch manager, you could advertise Naivas Kisumu on page 2 or page 3 of the magazine. They will give you their advert that they want to run specific to Kisumu, the Kisumu branch. You will advertise on that page for free. And then in turn, they will put it on their shelves at the front shelf. So that will help you with distribution so people can see, wow, this magazine is already in Naivas. They will pick it, they will love it because they'll associate the name, the big name of Naivas to your magazine. Secondly, when you now go to other advertisers, you will tell them already Naivas is advertising with us. So they will not know that Naivas is not paying you, that you have actually done a barter trade. You could do this with Naivas, you could do with Chandarana, you could do with everybody who is big. You could also approach other big companies in Kisumu. I don't know which big local companies are there, and offer them free advertising for the first 1 month or 2. Because all you need is for them to give you their artwork in a format that you require, and you just add the number of pages that you need. That will help you when you're going to other advertisers, when they see, oh, this and this company is here, and it's already a big company in Kisumu. Okay, this is a serious magazine. So I don't know whether that is called fake it till you make it, but it's a way of penetration into the market. The magazine must look good, must look big, and must look like it is supported by big advertisers, because a lot of people think if Unilever or Colgate or Procter & Gamble is advertising in this magazine, then they must have done their research. They know it's a good magazine. I'll also advertise. So look for advertising aggressively. Of course, your content determines everything. What is a magazine about? Is it things, again, that people in Kisumu want to read, have time to read, they're interested in? What are people in Kisumu want to read? You must answer that question. Not what you, as Donata, wants to read or love reading, but what people in Kisumu want to read, because the magazine is being sold to people in Kisumu. I think with those, you could be successful. Finance, as I said, is always a tough one to crack. So your advertisers always will, your aggressiveness in getting advertisers will always help you. So go for them, be very aggressive, offer them discounts, offer them freebies, offer them partnerships, so that you can get them on board. Once they're on board, you will have money to do your publishing, you will have money to do your circulation. Also talk to the hawkers on the streets, the guys who sell newspapers in traffic. Anybody who has a car is assumed can also afford a magazine. So look for those ones who are in the traffic jam. They can push your magazine very well. Yeah, and all the best. I think it's a good space. Again, I always say it is not what you do, it is how you do it that will make a difference. I hope those points will help you, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Man, this Andrew is a prosperity preacher. Rosemary, let's set people straight. You know, kina Andrew ni wale wanakwambia hata ukicheka the fire can give you a turn. You know, kina Andrew are the good kind people. Me and you, Rosemary, we've been on this street. A fashionista magazine, because I had a look at it. What's your take? I'm not beating it, but is this a stretch?
No, I think I think the advice for Andrew is spot on. Is that the one thing with magazines is that you have to, advertisements are what run the publications. It's not even the sales from the magazines. It's usually the adverts and the people the companies that you get to advertise on the magazines. However, for the companies to come on board, they need to see figures. They need to see what's the readership of the magazine. So it's a very thin, what is it called? It's a balance that you have to strike, because you have to get a huge readership. And as I can see is that there is a segment. Andrew described, I think part of what Andrew was saying is a magazine that goes to everyone. But I think this magazine has a target, a specific target, because not everyone will read fashion magazine. Not everyone will read it. So basically, who is the target? And then is it also a possibility that instead of a public, because again, we have to also be realistic on what age we are in. We are in an age where a lot of people are doing everything, a lot of things are digital. So is it also a possibility that you can have your publication digitalized? Because we have to appreciate the fact that nobody, I mean, I can't remember the last time I picked anything, even a newspaper. So if there's an article, then I'd rather read it online, and other than a book. So again, is there a digital publication? And then, so I think there are a lot of things that she needs to figure out based on target market. But advertisements are what run this magazine. So then she has to establish the readership so that then advertisers can come on board. So that's kind of what Andrew said.
Right, great. I mean, so Dr. Joanne, I'm going to bring you on board. But before I bring you on board, I'm going to say this to Donata. A couple of years ago, I used to run a CRM, and one of our clients was CIO Magazine. And I'm going to tell you, if you're going to do publishing is one of the most difficult businesses to break even. It's a business that very advertiser driven, and advertisers are also brutal in the content that they want you to do. So one of the struggles of the nation is how do you balance your content vis-a-vis your advertisers, but not to pour water on your plan. My thinking is grow big in Kisumu. Grow big in Kisumu. Associate yourself with the big events, whatever it is. Grow big. Make sure you're the buzz on the street. There are celebrities. There are people who have gravitas towards Kisumu. So Jalango is a big guy. I don't think Jalango is going to charge you just to have some presence in Kisumu. Tell him, look, support Motherland or something. Go for it. Then when you grow big in Kisumu, when you're the go-to place, then your financial modeling should be around activation, not print. Activation, not print. That's how I'd go about it. Dr. Joanne, you're in creative communication. This one, what do you take? Joanne.
Thanks, George. Donata, I'll speak from a background of newspapers, having worked for newspapers and magazines, and also teaching on it, on everything else. So what everyone else has said makes a lot of sense, but I want to take you back to the basics. I want to ask you, why are you doing a magazine? And why are you doing the magazine in Kisumu specifically? The moment you answer that, then all the other advice you've been given is going to flow. Key things you need to understand is that the media industry works very differently from the other industries, like let's say banking and the rest. So now you need to look at your content, but the key question is, why does that magazine exist? Why are you circulating it? You can produce it and write it from Kabartonjo or Kirinyaga, but you're selling it in Kisumu. So why the Kisumu people? So why is Kisumu your target market? So the moment you explain that, you will be able to niche your magazine the way it should be. Understand also, with the magazines, you have to be very specific. Are you talking about style? Are you talking about real estate, construction, lifestyle? And then in this magazine, who are your contributors? Let's say you're talking about construction, and then you have Viola there talking about stones. Like, really? So you have to sell a product that is making sense to the people you're selling to, and they should have the need to need your magazine. On top of it, you also need to understand that media audiences have changed the digital era, that the media audiences are now customers to products from the advertisers. So by the time you're placing anything in the media and you want to advertise, you should think about your reader being the potential customer to the advertiser who's going to advertise in your magazine. I hope you're getting my point. Audiences have now become customers with the digital space. So as much as you're talking about attracting advertisers, your advertisers should understand their customers, who should also couple up as your audiences. So you need to do a bit of research on that. And then there's also the whole issue of production of the magazine. There's a distribution of it. So from what I get from what you're asking is the production part. Who is giving you content? What is the content in it? Placement. When you talk about placement in print media, we're talking about where to place the picture on page 3, page 1. Andrew, I see Ukombele, he gave you an example of having the supermarkets advertise in page 2. So there's a lot that you need to understand in all that. But the key thing is, what are you selling in your magazine? You cannot say fashion, yet you can get fashion online. So what is your competitive edge? What is the discrepancy between you with a magazine and what is online, and what nation standard true love or drum is going to bring in? So you need to be very, very specific. Again, do your SWOT to understand yourself, understand your market, then go for it.
Thanks, Joanne. I mean, you said it. You said it beautifully, and I want to take it to Viola. So I'm trying to unmute you. Viola, yes. Viola, your thoughts. How do I say this? Fashion, style, entertainment. Outskirts city, but outskirts city. What's your take on this?
Well, I am in agreement with what people are saying. I like I like that Andrew was very specific about how she can get advertising and things like that. But I will ask the same question that Joanne is asking: is why, first of all, why print, right? Because even Nation and Standard, they're online. Everybody is online. And Andrew also gave the thought that when you go into a restaurant, I'll pick up the newspaper or Yamli magazine and open page 1, page 2, then my phone pings and I grab my phone and I find myself looking for everything online. I'll find news online, I'll find fashion online, I'll find everything online. So why print? Well, print is a very expensive process. And even when you're put up at Naivas in Kisumu City, and I walk in and I look at Drum and I look at True Love and I look at Elle magazine, what will make me pick Scarlet magazine instead of those others? So I think you have to be very definitive about that content. I was a little bit disappointed, Donata, when I went online and I couldn't find your website, because your online platform gave me a website, scarletmagazine.co.ke, but everything that I clicked on that was leading me there was not actually leading me there. So the website did not exist. So those are part of the things that I would look at. First get a functioning website, get some of your stories, make it almost like a blog online for the Kisumu people. And then once you get that running and you see like there's traction, then that is when I would head towards an actual print, because print is not cheap. Your competition is already struggling. The mainstream media who are in print are already struggling to sell their print. So why jump in there when it's already a struggle and everybody else is online? So I would try and build my online first before getting into physical printing. But then if you go into physical printing and you're a lifestyle magazine, then part of the businesses that I would throw in there that Andrew was suggesting with supermarkets, I would also throw in salons, because that's heavy readership happens in salons as well. That's my take.
All right, great, guys, these are golden nuggets. I don't think you can get such real talk. And Donna, I hope this is it. And I mean, I hope you have some good take home. So I'm going to jump to the next one. Those of you who are tuned in on Facebook and YouTube, please post your comments and questions. We're about to get into a Q&A very quickly. For some reason, I can't seem to share. Hold on. All right. I think I'll just go back to the panel. And next was Damaris. Next was Damaris Juguna, These Cakes. And I'll read out her thing. I hope now it can allow me to share. Just 1 second. There you go. Yes. So Damaris Njuguna actually had done a video for us, but very interesting. And so she started in October 2018 as an experiment with pancakes, which developed my interest in baking, and I learned baking and cake decoration from YouTube and Facebook. Over time, my clientele has grown from family and friends to referrals from previous clients. So I personally deliver cakes to all my clients, and I always listen to their feedback. My biggest struggle is expanding my clientele and creating a brand as These Cakes. The main marketing tool is social media platforms and WhatsApp, which have not been very effective in the recent past. And before I take on any of the members, there's a very interesting book that I encourage anyone who's listening in to talk about. There's a very interesting book called E-Myth. And E-Myth is a story that's told about a lady who used to make samosas in the office. And this lady, what happened is that she started making samosas, and was very good at making the samosas. And then after she made the samosas, she quit her job and started a bakery downstairs, just as a passion. And then everyone from the office and the neighboring offices came to her business. And then they became now too many that she could not serve them and cook the samosas at the same time. And so she went behind to make samosas and hired somebody to be serving the customers. And when she gave someone, that person did not give them the service they used to give. So the customer started complaining. So she went to the front and sent somebody else to make the samosas at the back. But then now the customers said the samosas were not tasting like they used to. And suddenly she had to cook at night and serve during the day. So this is a curse of turning, how do I say, entrepreneurs, unfortunately, at times discuss everything about business other than the business of being in business. Business, I believe, has very many fundamentals. You have a product, you have a market, you have a value proposition to that market, then you have growth, and then you have scale later. I mean, like, now you can expand. So what I would tell Damaris is why you need to interrogate those people who bought from you. Why did they buy? Because cakes are bought everywhere. Why you? And if you can capitalize on you, was it the customer service? Then if it's the customer service, then you need to die at the customer service angle. If it was the taste, then you need to die at the taste. If it was a customization of the cakes and the whatever, what is it? Why you? And if you find out, and data will tell you a lot of that, just record. Don't buy any fancy instrument. Just say so and so buys from me because they like me. So and so buys from me because they heard about me. Then if referrals is what working on you, then focus on referrals. I don't know who wants to go first. Andrew, you look a bit busy. Viola, you want to go first?
Okay, sure. Okay, I'm having a little bit problems with my screen, but anyway, okay. One of the things that captured me about these cakes, we're in the space where we're always saying technology works, being on social media works. But I am of the school of thought that not every business must thrive on social media, right? Social media is great, but can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay. But for something like cakes, unless you're doing these amazing pictures and I don't know what kind of imagery that you're going to put online to make me buy your product, I feel like some things, when localized, thrives better. So if Dee has a client base that is local to her, I think she would really benefit from working that client base, figuring out, number one, as you said, why did they buy from her initially? How can she capitalize on that? Can she set up a stand somewhere at, high traffic areas in her neighborhood where she would be able to give samples and make herself available for, be the cake lady when she makes a cake for somebody, goes there, passes out her cards, do some value addition, like, make extra cookies when you order a cake that will make clientele want to order from her again. But putting yourself up on social media, I don't think making your business being successful means that you have to sell cake to the whole of Nairobi or the whole of Kenya. Find your locale. If it works for you, make cake for them and you will be successful, because everybody is always, baked goods are a high moving commodity. So I don't think she should focus so much on building on social media, on YouTube or Facebook, and finding clientele there. That's not where her clientele is. That's my...
Right. Great. Golden nuggets. Yeah, I'm telling you. Like, Dr. Joanne, your thoughts? Sorry.
In fact, I want to really commend Damaris. Having learned and taught herself from YouTube, it takes a lot of self-belief and a lot of discipline to teach yourself and make mistakes. Damaris, keep up and keep improving. With baking, you can go a long way. However, my question is, would your problem be brought up from the cost implications of delivery? I'm wondering how you're baking them and delivering, yet you're doing a small business. Because probably you might find your disconnect is coming in there. Because delivery of cakes is not, you cannot tell and do the guy shika keki peleka because it's going to get smashed and all that. Probably need to do your analysis nicely and see. And in my view, but I'm not in it, I tend to think your disconnect is coming in when it comes to delivery. It is said cheap is expensive. If I'm making you good cakes and you need them and I'm busy, you will find a way to pick them. Or you can have, I have a baker who is in Langata and I don't live in Langata. But if I need cakes from her, she always tells me, fine, I have two guys who can deliver, but you're going to cater for the cost, which is good for me. But if she starts saying she's going to deliver to Joanne, next to someone else, I think your main problem would be around the delivery part. Think about your model of baking them and then delivering. Think about it and then see what other bakers are doing. It could be your competitive edge, but it could also be your undoing. And if you really want to deliver, then think of a different strategy, probably from what you have, maybe partnering with a guy you can always call to do the delivering, but the person who's ordered the cake meets the costs.
All right, great. Rosemary, your thoughts and guys, put your questions. We're about to try and tie this up. I know we are about to overrun.
Yeah.
Apologies. Rosemary, your thoughts.
Yeah. I think I will tend to disagree with what Viola has said. I have seen big businesses which have no physical premises that have grown on social media. And one of the classic cases are Tanzania businesses. If you look at all these celeb, there are a lot of I'd give you an example of one that is a hair shop. I actually went to the shop itself and they do not have a shop premises, but it's big business. And one of the things, because she says that her primary platforms are, or her primary marketing tool is the social media. If you have 200 followers on social media, you cannot succeed. If you're going to be in social media, then you have to build the platforms. You have to have minimum 5,000 followers. So basically, for building a followership is one of the key areas for successful social media. I'm a very big advocate for social media because I have seen businesses that have only social media platforms and they are very successful. But you have to invest in social media. So the fact that she has only 209 followers tells you why her business is not really successful. And being a channel. So in that channel, and it's one of the most affordable channels. If you look at even doing a promotion on Instagram, a lot of cakes that I've bought from businesses, ads that just popped up on my social media. I don't necessarily follow them, but I have seen the ad, I have seen the post because they have promoted. And if you look at Instagram, for example, promoting a post on Instagram for about 5 days is about 2,000 shillings. So meaning that if I invest in one good post and then I promote them, they will be able to get in 5 days, I can get a viewership of about maybe 7,000, 8,000 people. So these are things that you have to do if you're going to be successful in social media. So I think she has the right platforms. Has she done a lot about it? Not really, because 209, my own personal profile, which I just post useless photos, I have 500, 700 followers. So basically she needs to work on the base. She needs to work on her follower base.
Right, great. Andrew, Rosemary. Hold on, Andrew. Rosemary is here lying. Those photos are useless. I have seen them. They are very useful in certain quarters. Andrew, what's your take?
I'm following her immediately. Following her immediately. Now,
yes.
My internet is acting up, but quickly, I think as Dr. Joanne has said, I think Your biggest problem is the go-to-market, the route to market. How are you getting to the market? So there are many ways to get to the market. It's not only through social media. For example, if you are doing, because you are baking from home, that is my thinking. You could get people that are close to you or in different estates nearby who can buy from you and sell to their own friends and their own customers. So you become like one big baker who then, and there are so many unemployed people in the estates nowadays. There are so many people looking for opportunities. So you could bring them in, train them on how to handle cakes, how to handle customers, how to advertise on their own social media pages. So basically what you'll be doing, Damaris, is replicating yourself. Now imagine, because today you have 209 followers, imagine if you get 10 people who also have 209 followers. That is 2,000 and something and 90 followers that you're going to have immediately. Now, if you train them on how to handle cakes and how to advertise on social media, they could advertise on their own pages. They could say, buy my cake or buy my samosas. Give me an order, I'll deliver to you at your doorstep. I'm serving South B, Court A, B, and C. Okay, so you give them routes and then they come pick from you and they supply these people. That means then you don't have to do the delivery. Make sure they are well trained in handling the product and meeting the customer need. So, and then you will tell them you have to send me your orders by this time, and those orders will be ready by this time. So be very careful about your lead time so that orders come in, let's say at 5 p.m. and they are being delivered the following day, and you spend the whole night baking. And in the morning by 5 a.m., your 10 people are there to pick their orders, and they're on their way now doing the delivery. Your biggest issue is a go-to-market. Do not just think of social media. Think about all the unemployed people around you who can help you in your distribution, who can help you to make deliveries. Do not think about employing them, because you are not going to afford them. Think about paying for whatever they do. Paying for performance means they can buy from you and sell at a margin. Paying for performance means you only pay them with what they bring in. So you can give 10 people 100 cakes every morning. Those are 1,000 cakes. And whatever they sell, they bring back whatever they have not sold, and you pay them a commission based on that. Of course, there are issues of handling money, there are issues of trust, which you have to now see how to work. But it's a go-to-market issue that you have, and you can solve it in different ways. As Ikua has told us several today, business is an experiment. Keep experimenting different models until you find one or two or three or four or five that work. Thank you.
Great. Guys, you better be grabbing this. Joanne, had you chimed in on this?
Yes, I had.
Okay, sir. So I'm going
right before.
All right. I'm going into Q&A, and my first question, and thanks, guys. Thanks for those who are tuned in. I'll ask you to indulge us just 15 more minutes. I know we've stretched past the hour, but so we'll take the Q&A right now. And first question, I'm posting it there, is Fungai Makovere. And he says, I'm listening. Now, here's my question. I'm a salon owner and once hired a certain lady to help me with my clients. What surprised me is that my clients seem not to accept her. They will not even wait for me. They will say they will wait for me than to be, they will say, they even say they will wait for me than to be touched by my assistant. Please help me here. What can I do to make them like my assistant? She's perfect with her work. That's why I hired her. Who wants to raise their hand and take this one? Viola, is there an assistant, Viola?
Joanne raised her hand. So
Sorry.
Joanne to do this.
No, let Joanne. Joanne, an assistant delivering the same level of service as yourself. Being liked by your client. What's your take?
Briefly, I'll say this briefly, and then you do training on. Sorry, you can hear me?
Yeah, go on. Yes, we can.
Oh, sorry. I'll make this very brief, where we say employers do not look for people who are qualified only. They also look for attitude. So she's saying the assistant is very good in their work. The ladies here can attest to it. You go to a salon where the work is done well, but also the attitude counts. I don't want to make it long. So maybe she should check on the attitude of her assistant. Done.
But maybe the assistant is cheap. So how do you deal with
Attitude is
good,
everything.
cheap? I want to ask
Maybe
Rosemary.
she gossips,
Rosemary.
maybe she's good.
I want to ask Rosemary. Rosemary, where you do your hair? Are you one of those who comes saying usiniguze kama hajaingia nitakoja?
Well, I
Are you
used
the
to.
Problem?
Nowadays,
Oh, just this all has
I
changed.
no longer do my hair. So
Yes.
I think one of the things she has to do is also build the customer's confidence in the person they have. If assuming that the attitude is right, then it's to help, like gas up the person so that the customers have confidence in them. But usually sometimes if I am like, I used to be a frequenter of a salon called On Air. I'd want On Air to do my hair. I'd never want anyone else to do. But with time, she actually convinced me to have other people do my hair. So basically, it's hard to actually do the work.
Thank you. Bwana Kinyozi, we can see you have no hair. Mr. Andrew, we can see your hairless self. Are you specific in who massages that head of yours? Are you very particular? Or what would you advise on this case?
Now, she needs to understand why clients don't want her. Remember, the customer is always the king, and the customer is always the winner. So, unfortunately, if it's consistent that clients do not want her, she needs to move her to some other duty. Because you are not going to lose your customers because of your employee, because the employee came to help you get more customers. So if the employee has come and is making you lose customers, unfortunately, it's going against your goal, which is to get more clients or maintain your clients. So I think she will probably need to reassign her to other duties. She can take her to the back room. She can take her to maybe sweeping the place. Whatever it is, or being in charge at the reception, she needs to find out. Maybe she has sorry to say, but maybe a hygiene issue. Maybe, there are so many things that could be affecting. And hair is very sensitive. I go to only one barber, and I go all the way to Westlands, and I live on Thika Road. So I drive all the way just to get a haircut from a particular person because I believe they are clean, they are pleasant. I enjoy that experience. It's my me time. It's my only time where I really want to protect it. It's not a rushed event because that is one of the ways I get to relax as a person. So it's a very personal experience. I have only one person who cuts my nails, for example. Nobody else is going to touch my toes or my hands to cut my nails because I believe it's very personal. Hygiene, just being pleasant, just the experience in itself, and the things we can talk about or not talk about. So just be customer centric. What does a customer want? A customer wants somebody different. Sorry, we'll take you to the back room, can offload, can do whatever, you can do any other duty, but don't be front facing to the customer.
Viola, Viola, have I unmuted you yet?
I have unmuted myself. Thank you.
Okay, you've had from a Slay King. You can tell the difference with haircut. It's not a Thika Road haircut. It's
it's a very particular, including the nail cut.
I wish Andrew could show us his nails. Me, I'm very curious. Hey,
he's twinkling them.
Is Salt Bay. Yes, Viola. And doesn't step up to you.
So I'm one of those people also hair is so particular, and especially if you have these natural hairs of ours, it's such a particular thing. It's a very personal thing. So how I would do it is different. I would have him, assuming all factors are well, her hygiene is good, her technique is good, and her attitude is good as well. I would approach it differently, such that instead of having her, throwing her at the client, go and do this person, and the client is like, no, don't touch my hair, I would split the duties. I wouldn't put her into sweeping, because that's kind of killing her morale, because she's a hairstylist and she came there as a hairstylist and she's clearly skilled. I would split it in such a way that I would help her build the rapport, have her wash this client's hair today. So if I go and sit at his chair, then instead of him washing the hair and doing the whole process, have her wash this client's hair. The next time this client comes, have her wash and blow dry this person's hair, and then he does the styling. So what he's doing is he's endearing her to the clients slowly, as opposed to thrusting her into or thrusting the client into this hairstylist's hair. So just gradually do it. And then if this person is good enough, she will be able to build a rapport, talk to the client nicely, whatever. By the time I'm coming the third time, you washed me the first time, I felt good getting that wash, I will want you to wash my hair again. If you did a good job and blow dried my hair and I didn't hurt, I will want you to do it again. So at one point, the owner of the salon will not be there, and I'll be like, okay, you just do the whole thing. You might end up finding that this person who was being refused is even better than the owner. So I'll just do it gradually, have her build rapport with the clients, and then see how that goes.
Okay, great. Guys, this is very insightful. It's funny that the very simple things, and I can only imagine what people struggle with when you're starting a business and then you're trying to scale and you get your first employee. And thanks, guys, for chiming in. So we'll take our last question, all the way from South Africa. I can't say that name, Ntabiseng. Andrew, you spent some time in South Africa, I remember.
You have to click.
Andrew, you have to. I think
you have to click at some point. Yeah, somewhere in there.
not to make fun, thank you for gracing us. I don't know how to say the name. Andrew lived in KwaZulu-Natal at one point. She's saying, I'm selling clothes and my biggest challenge is saving money made from my business. We've all been there. You've worked 1 year and it's like the year, the only thing that has changed is the number of the calendar. But your bank balance is like the year never happened. Andrew, what's your take? And then after that, I'll take Dr. Joanne.
Yeah, different strategies. I like to give people just simple, practical ideas. Number one is keep buying more stock. So keep expanding your business. So every time you get in some money, you just go and buy more clothes to sell. Every time you get some money, you go and you keep the minimum amount of money that is enough for you to survive. So do not, sometimes saving is not putting money in the bank. We all think of saving as putting money aside, but you can save in stock. Stock means buying more clothes that you're going to sell. So your savings could be in instead of having 10 dresses to sell, now you have 30. And out of those 30, 15 is actually my savings. That is my money that I should be enjoying, but I've just expanded my business. Another way is to look for banks where you can put money that is not easy to withdraw. Do not have an ATM card, do not have a checkbook, open a savings account. In Kenya, we have Postbank. In South Africa, I also think you have, I'm trying to remember the name of that, like the post office, where you have a card. You have a card and you go and you put money and you cannot withdraw this money. So you keep saving, you keep saving, you keep saving. You can only probably withdraw once a month or maybe twice a year, things like that. So you need to look for, I always say that if you have a weakness, look for strategies that overcome those weaknesses. Instead of trying to probably change yourself, which is one of the most difficult things to do. Look for strategies that will help you overcome the weakness. Have an account, a bank account that is very far from where you live. Do not do online banking. Do not do phone banking. So when you make the trip to go and deposit the money, when you think about going to withdraw, the trip is so long that you think, okay, maybe I can survive without this money. So saving involves strategy. Also buy that can help you. You can buy, it depends on the amount of money that you're making. You could buy these insurance products that are there, the money market, shares. So you just make sure that any money that comes in is not with you. You don't keep it even for 10 minutes. You only take whatever you need, which is a small amount, and then the rest you buy something. So you could have it in stocks. You could have it in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange if you're in Johannesburg. You could have that money in land if the money is enough to buy a small piece of land. So you keep putting it aside until one day you wake up and say, wow, I have all these assets. So keep your money in assets. Don't keep it in the bank where you can access it. Don't keep it. I saw a joke on social media saying, as soon as you start saving money in Kenya, you receive a phone call that your uncle has swallowed a slasher, which means you have to send money to your uncle to go to hospital. Money is like water; it will always find a way to go somewhere. So you need to keep it far away from you. You need to make sure, and don't lend money. That's the other problem. We keep lending money to people, and it's a big fight trying to get it back. But put it somewhere where it's not easily accessible, so that one day you'll wake up and you'll be a wealthy person because you have bought all these things. May it be shares, may it be more stocks in your business and stuff like that. All the best.
You've had it. Words from our resident Shylock. Nasikia Shylock amesema akupatie. Dr. Joan.
Andrew has said almost everything, and I don't think I want to repeat, but really emphasize on her understanding herself more so she's able to access the cash in a difficult way, as Andrew has said. And I really want to commend her that her problem is not selling, her problem is how to save the money. And then lastly is she should learn how to pay herself immediately. Then the rest is inaccessible. And when she's paying herself, let her not be very generous. Let her pay herself what she deserves. Then she can save the rest in all the measures that Andrew has spoken about. And then the other cue is when you start making money, you start feeling like you can be in every contribution, even where you're not felt or needed. You need to be very careful about that. You don't have to contribute everywhere. You need to have the wisdom to discern where you can contribute and where not to. And also when you're giving back to society and all that. So that's generally it. Andrew, I think, has really encompassed it.
Rosemary, former banker, I think you have touched the financial sector somewhere in your career. This
Yes.
saving thing, myth, reality for an entrepreneur, does it apply? What's your take? As we try and close this.
I think it takes a lot of discipline. When I was working in the bank, I think that is one of the shifts I made when I left the bank, because the culture it's a loose culture. You're broke before, you're paid on 24th and 26th, you're broke. I think bankers have that reputation. And I think it takes a lot of discipline. So what I did when I left the bank, I also did a bit of centonomy, which I think I would really advocate for anybody who wants to learn about money. And as Andrew said, you invest. I'm one of the people who believed in insurance. When everyone avoided insurance, people, like when I was 23, I took some policies, and I've come to see how important that was, because as an avenue to save, because this money is inaccessible. So I do that. Also SACCOs, which is money. I'm in Stima SACCO. By the time you go to withdraw, as Andrew says, it's a tall order. And so, because I realized when I was saving in the bank, I'd actually save, but everyone's problem becomes an emergency. So you're always withdrawing money to give people, to help out people, but when the money is inaccessible. So I think I would advise many different ways which you can save. Stock, nowadays you have the online share platforms where you can trade and you can buy and sell in shares. So monthly you can have a standing order to these platforms where you can buy shares. So there are really many different ways of saving money. And I think the options are there. So it's up to her to now have the discipline to actually do it.
Oh, great. I mean, wow. The wisdom here. Viola, as hand to mouth people, when you're moving from the at the Rosemary and I think we traveled to save, and I was doing this, your hand to mouth. What's your take?
No, first I was just thinking you have to take it to Nyeri, you put it in the bank. By the time you're in Karatina, you need to go back to Nyeri and collect the money.
I know, man. These people are lying to us. What's your take?
What's my take? I think they've covered, and Andrew took the whole cake. Basically, the rest of us were left with slices to fill in. I think for her, acknowledging you have a problem is the most important part of beginning to solve any problem. So I applaud her for acknowledging that she has a she has a spending issue and she has a saving problem. And just that acknowledgement in itself will make any decisions she makes more intentional and more deliberate in how she handles her money. Beyond that, everything else has been covered.
Oh, great. I mean, thanks, guys. I mean, I need to start releasing you guys. We've overshot by 21 minutes, but today was just heavy wisdom. Heavy wisdom. I thank you. I want to thank everyone who tuned in. I'm very excited. We have it seems South Africa are one of our keen followers, and we have Andrew. You need to start saying these names for us. Me, I'm from Nyeri, but Fungai, I think you have started by letting her make you here, and then your sisters about the assistant problem. And I really want to celebrate everyone who's attended. And we are on this every Friday. So thank you, mentors. Final word from you. Just one quick one, and then we can release everyone. Rosemary, I'll start with you. Rosemary, final word to all those who are watching. And
I think that to encourage everyone, whatever you're doing, I mean, it's always better than doing nothing. So the fact that you're doing something is commendable. So whether you're doing it right or wrong, you have to keep moving.
Okay, great. I think Viola, we'll take it from you. Oh, sorry.
Okay. For me, I think, first of all, thank you so much for, having me on this platform. I have learned as well as, contributing. For me, my final thought is, my parting shot is, find your purpose. Find the reason why you're doing what you're doing. It will guide a lot of your decisions. It will guide your success. It will guide your journey. So once you are sure of what am I doing this for and why am I in it, that should be your compass towards whatever business you're doing, whatever entrepreneurial activity you take up, and that should be your direction. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Viola. We are honored to have you. My slaking with tons of
yeah, thank you so much. This was lovely. I've also learned a lot, just like Viola has said. It was lovely to be here to listen to what people are saying, to see the challenges that are facing us. My parting shot, be open and be flexible. Be open to change, be open to listen, be open to even change the business. I think the most important thing you should not lose are the lessons you learn in every venture that you get into. Before I got into the land business, I sold dogs, I sold hair, I did car hire, I did Shylock, and many other things, and they all failed, but I never lost the lesson, I think. So don't worry. Do not be so stuck in your business that you do not want to change it, even when it is not working, or you do not want to change how you're doing it, even when it is not working. Be open to change. Listen to everybody. Listen to your customers, listen to your employees, listen to yourself. In the end, the business will succeed, but the one thing that you will realize that the business will also change you as a person, because you'll have gone through so many experiences that is going to change, and it will be very different from when you started. And do not worry about competition too much. Worry about your customer. How can I serve my customer better? How can I be a better person? How can I deliver to my customer? The other thing, especially when it comes to the Kenyan culture, we are very keen to go for the money and not deliver the promise. And that's your competitive advantage. So you take your trouser to the fundi, you pay a deposit of 200 shillings, it's supposed to be ready in 2 hours, you come 3 days later, he has never even moved it from where you put it. And this is a big problem we have in Kenya. This is a big culture problem we have in Kenya. So if you want to be successful, always deliver what you promise. If you say 5 o'clock, you'll have delivered something, the cake, make sure you're there by 4:30. And then people are going to see you as reliable. And even if your cakes are not the most tasty, they will prefer to buy from you because they know you will deliver for sure. So that will be your competitive advantage. If your business has integrity, you are eliminating 70%. I can say that without a doubt. In our country, you are eliminating 70% of your competition. So you might look foolish as you start, you might look slower, you might look smaller, but in the long run, you're going to win, and you're going to win big time. Once the word goes out there that this person is reliable, you're going to have customers streaming in. You will not even be able to satisfy their demand. Yeah, we can see if you go to Facebook, you go to Buyer Beware, you can see the amount of complaints people have every day. So do not be one of those people. Take a long-term view of your business. Think 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. Because your reputation, you might stop the business and even keep the money, but your reputation will always follow you wherever you go. And do not want to be that rich person that everybody says this one stole, or this one is a thief, or this one is a con man. It is useless. It is not helpful, and it will affect you and your children. Believe you me. Whether you call it karma, whether you call it whatever you call it, it will affect you. So integrity will always help you, and keep listening. This is a good forum where you can get a lot of advice from people like us who have made a lot of mistakes, and you can learn how to avoid them. Thank you very much, Ikua, for organizing this, and look forward to many more. You can send my payment on the other number, M-Pesa number, not this one. Thank you.
Hey, this man, whatever he drank in the morning, we want it. That wisdom is just flowing. Dr. Joanne, tell them, do you take your trouser where Andrew takes his trouser when it's gone? I didn't even know Andrew has torn trousers, but this is interesting.
We took them together, then I realized I cannot hack it. Nikaacha Andrew hapo. Anyway, wacha ang'ang'ane. Na ishonelewe vizuri. My part in short, I'm going to make it short. And it ties on with what the rest have also said. But the key thing I always emphasize on is self-awareness. Self-awareness. Know yourself. Know your temperaments. By temperaments, I mean know your personality. Are you melancholist? Are you phlegmatic. We are all different personalities. The moment you know yourself, you know how to handle your weaknesses and your strengths and how you can improve on some of your weaknesses. The moment you know yourself, it will lead you to knowing your brand and your business. So when you do the business you do and you already know yourself, you will take time to also understand and know your business. As Andrew and the rest have said, it's not easy, there's competition and all that. But within that environment of competition and all those bad things, people are still thriving. Why? Because they know their businesses. Two, they know themselves. For example, if I was doing the cakes and I know my personality is I'm a bit impatient with orders, peleka pale, I'll get tired trying being given directions on delivery. I will do the cakes, but I will not deliver them because I know my impatient side will show off to my customers. So it's crucial for us to know ourselves, what to know about yourself, using what we call the Johari's window. Take the Johari's window as your assignment, learn yourself, then now go into your business, know your business, merge the two, and go and conquer the world. More so, reputation, which is a culmination of your image and identity. Image is how people see you, how you brand yourself, your colors, and all that. And then identity is what people say about you. A combination of the two, we have your reputation. So build on your reputation. Once you have the reputation, you have to work hard to maintain it. It's like a child that you have to keep feeding. Once you maintain it, crown it all with the right attitude and crown it with integrity. That's all I can say.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Dr. Joanne. And thank you all. For me, I won't even go too much into it. I'll just play for you with a short video, which I like to play for entrepreneurs who are watching. 'll play it again, just for measure. This is what entrepreneurship is about, and it's not an easy journey. It's a journey full of potholes. As Andrew told you, he used to Shylock, used to do many things. 5 years, 5 years, 5 years, people, 5 years. So thank you very much. This has been her hustle. Thank you to the mentors. Bless you for sharing your time and your wisdom. And thanks for everyone who tuned in from wherever you are. Catch us next week, and all the best. Goodbye, and have a blessed week.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.